widen Cox Road all on their property. It's going to be much better access than it is now.
Oh, yeah.
The ambulance does have a siren and a light, and that actually helps them to get past traffic. So I'd like to move on.
Can I say
Jen.
something? I'm not done.
Uh,
I have had a situation where I waited there because the ambulance couldn't get out onto Cox Road to take me to Annapolis. Done. I said it.
Thank you. The next one's on a different sheet. It's Jen Morrison. Great.
Hi, thanks. My name is Jen Morrison. I live in Crofton. I just had a couple of questions related to the traffic. Again, I apologize. The pastor mentioned that the Church of God needs to grow, and I fully support that. At our church, I go to church in Bowie, and our church only has activities because it's on 450. It's just on a different section of 450. Somewhat confusing, but I think everyone here understands. We're not allowed to have CCD until after 7 o'clock because of the fact of the traffic. So I know you're saying probably wouldn't be, but is there any way to say that that would be like guaranteed to not be? Because I think that might go a long way. I know that it's helped, well, as much as it can. At any rate, that's just my thought.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Something that we can look at. Next one is Karen Pendleton. Great.
This doesn't have anything to do about traffic for once. Well, this is a concern. I live in a development behind the Cox Road proposed church. I live off the Jackson River, which has not been noted anywhere on your plans, Tarrytown and Cox Road, but we live behind that little stream you have behind the proposed church. My question too is, you're proposing a septic and well. I live in a community, we have like 100 houses behind us that is on a septic and on a well. My question is, how can we not hurt people that we can sustain a well or a septic to accommodate the church and to protect the communities that live behind them, protect our wells and our septics? And I can tell you, when you're out of power, guess what? You're a sitting duck. You do not have running water, or you can flush your toilets when you're actually out of power.
It happens a lot.
First, let me say I understand the septic and well. I grew up in Oregon, the center, and we have septic and well. And especially during snowstorms, you have to go down this big hill, get up. And we have like a week without electricity. That was a problem.
Good evening. I'm the civil engineer who put up this plan. Now, regarding for the on-site well and septic, let's going to start with the well first. We will have underground storage. That's going to be designed according to the number of seats right now. We are less than 5,000. It's going to be a little less than 2,000 gallons per day. Now, yes, and if you look at this area right here, this is in this area where we're going to have our vertex in this area, which is got pretty much good gravity. Now, regarding the well, we are thinking about, to put underground on the parking the tank. And maybe sometime when you have a light or power failure, the church, with the side of the church, we're going to provide our own power supplying in case if there is any need, any emergency. And pretty much the way the pastor said, this is going to be for the community. In case any need eventually someone may need it during those moments, they will be more than happy to come down to the church and get whatever they need. Regarding fire requirement, fire truck, we designed it in a way to meet the state highway rates. The fire truck can get inside, go around the loop, and get out without any obstruction. We have two entrances, one in here and one in here. The main entrance for the fire truck is going to be this area. So, as far as water, on-site water, just like my church, they got an underground tank, and this is permitted by the county, and we're going to go through the county process to get the design and the approval process. Everything related to fire protection, because it's going to be sprinkling building, we're going to accommodate those fire regulations. Thank you.
Well, we're not to affect our well. I mean, we don't, 135 residents, we don't have a separate well, like, oh, this is my well. Oh, no, Mr. Smith, that's your well. We all share the same well, basically. If one of us lose, one of us go dry, or a drought, us as neighbors, we have to be conserving our energy. But my point is, where you're saying a holding tank is actually a well. So your well, obviously, is going to also affect our community behind us. It's not a holding tank. And a septic, exactly.
The well where we are planning to do it is going to be above ground in this area of Defense Highway, because we're trying to maintain kind of well is more than 100 away from any septic. Since here is going to be our on-site septic system, the well is going to be in this area, which is pretty much very high ground and not far away from adjacent property down south in this area. Thank you.
How wide is the fire lane?
Fire lane?
Fire lane, how wide is it? 450 inside?
450 inside. We are planning to widen the line, make it a three-way one. We're going to have, when you are coming from a Defense Highway to make a left on the church.
Yeah, how wide is the fire lane?
I mean, the fire lane is going to just fall under the county road requirement, which is 14 feet. So what the church is planning on its side is to have two additional lanes. One lane is going to be for the left turn. Someone is coming for the church making left, you can go to the center line. It's going to be a bypass for the adjacent property going. When you make a right turn, it's going to be another like acceleration lane on, meaning if you got at least 20 feet from the existing, which is pretty much 14 feet right now or 12, you're going to add at least another additional 20 feet from the church side. Meaning as far as widening, this is going to be a safe and sound for the whole community to have at least 3 ways going in. In this bottom of the south, we're going to do the same because the widening is going to go all the way down to this entrance right here. Now, I mean, as I answer the question, fire lane, the minimum required for a fire truck to make a right turn or left turn is 40 feet. And by code, we need to provide a commercial entrance. It's going to be just on one side, we're going to have 24 feet, in the other side, we're going to have a 24 feet. That means we are beyond county requirement expectation. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's on site, what he was talking about. Cox Road itself, the freeway needs to be at least 30 feet wide. 10 feet wide. Thank you. Next one is Peggy Perkins. Yeah, great. How about now?
I'm very concerned about the safety of our community. I've lived in Crofton since 1972, that's 43 years. And I live right on the corner of Terrytown and 450. Over the years, all these new developments have developed. And Fat Boy's Restaurant, you would not believe the traffic that comes out of Fat Boy's Restaurant, and that the parking area is inadequate. They park on 450 coming down the hill. Last weekend, I had people parking in front of my house on Terrytown to walk up 450 and cross over to Fat Boy's. Now, that is before all this begins. So I am very concerned about the traffic that will occur should, and the accidents are unbelievable.
Thank you. Great, and the last one on this sheet is Cindy Brookmead. Cindy. All right. We'll move on. I want to open it up. Some people who probably weren't written down might have questions, so let's go right over here. Here's a microphone on that side.
My name is James Castle. I live down Patuxent River Road. I have a couple of questions and a couple of statements. Number one, your statement, where were you when we bought the land? Number one, I don't think most of the residents of Crofton have a need for 18 acres, so I think that's a superfluous statement. Number two, your statement of liberating people scares me because I don't know what that means. I might like an explanation of that. I can let my imagination run wild and think about what that means, but I'd rather hear it from you. I don't know what that has regarding leading people to Christ. Number three statement, you said, how can we solve the problem? Well, you can put the land back up for sale. I think that would be just fine. I have a couple of questions. Number one, there's been no mention regarding how many buses are going to be coming into this property. The 300 spaces will be, less will be taken up if people are bused. I'm not sure what your other property is going to be used for at this point in time. If that's like a satellite parking area or somewhere else is going to be a satellite parking area, like, who knows, Home Depot. And then people will be bused in. And I think that'll be detrimental to our community. I'd like to know the answer to that. And also, why was the plan changed from city water to well and septic? We've never gotten an answer on that.
Thank you for your question regarding why it has been changed from a public to on-site. Yes, the original plan was trying to provide public sewer. That was a part of to bring another way to have the church to be a part of the community. The reason I say that is in terms of water public facility for everybody. That improvement coming from Defense Highway, we were tapping in 8 inches to increase to 10 inches water line going through Cox Road all around to this end. And they were planning even to have a lateral sewer for each individual house just to be a part of the community. They could extend it up to their property on Cox Road and have a 90-degree turn and service. But the church decided, leaders, why are you going to provide something to the community to be a part of the community? But when we look at it in terms of feasibility at the county, how to call it, the General Assembly or commission or not planning board, but it has to be through legislation in order to accept it, because in this part of Grambling, it is an envelope where it is on site. The public sewer is not accepted, and that is regulated by the state of Maryland at this point. Now, in order to make this move and moving forward, we know that we can have on-site sewer and water well. We got the capability, and we got the design, we can do it for. We decided just to go to the route to make it on-site. But still, we're gonna leave these on our plan, and maybe by next year, the state of Maryland or the county change their regulation in terms of servicing public on gamblers. They can come back again and visit the same thing to provide this public facility for the community. Thank you.
At the same time, how do you know how much water is available in that situation?
Which situation, please? Which situation? The public?
The aquifer. I mean, do you know how much water that well provides per minute to your property, and will it provide for not only your area but the rest of the community as well?
By county code, what is required for a church is the number of seats, which is 3 gallons a day. Now, regarding the aquifer, which is a groundwater table, I don't have that science. I cannot tell. The only thing we're going to provide, as the county required, let me finish please, is to provide a perk test. And since it's a commercial building, the county has a licensed certified contractor living in Arundel County. And basically, we're going to pick up one around Crofton and Gambers in order to provide the perk test. But we're going to go through the perk test, get the availability. Right now, we know as far as for infiltration regarding stormwater management, it's already very well is infiltrated, which is 1.15, and the county code or the state code is 0.52. Meaning this is a good soil, and as far as for perk, we're going to get the.
That's not the question I asked. The question I asked was the ability of the well to provide enough water, and as well as for the rest of the community.
We're going to provide some geophysician in order to get that answer. I'm a civil engineer, and that is a science which is a part of geophysician. If you ask me this question to tell you what is going to be, sir, I want to be frank with you. That means there's something at least we're not trying to debate to answer today. Only by science is going to tell us, what is available. Thank you.
Basically, that's further engineering. We don't know at this time. I did have 3 more people who wrote down here, so let me go to them. I'm sorry to let you know we're kind of running out of time, but we're going to keep going. Let me go to the next one. Lindsay O'Sullivan.
Hi, I live in Gambrels, right? Essentially behind. Oh, thank you. I live in Gambrels, essentially behind or near the Fat Boys Crab Shack as well. The question is regarding the well and the aquifer. I understand that you can't answer the questions today, but one of the requests would be an independent study on the effect this large well would have on the rest of the Gambrels neighborhood, who are all dependent on that aquifer for everything. Thank you.
The next one is, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, sorry, Phonies Jackson?
It's Faunus.
Faunus, okay, thank you.
So I live on Terrytown.
Thanks, Faunus.
So my name is Faunus and I live on Terrytown. I have been in the community for a year, so I'm probably one of your younger members. But my question for the church and for the community to think about is, first of all, thank you all for having the meeting. It's clearly private participation, much needed, so I really appreciate your all's time. It's really impressive how many of you came out tonight as well. But my question is, how much 1 to 2 traffic lights would cost to install, operate, and maintain, and why the church isn't offering to supply the community with this basic safety feature in addition to the officers. And additional safety features that might be worth considering would be adding a sidewalk on Defense Highway in addition to the lanes. I am concerned about that because I don't think it's necessarily right to force community members to give up their land to create the lanes, but I think that in addition to having the turning lanes, it might be good to have a sidewalk on Defense Highway as well.
Yeah, thank you. Those are good questions. And I guess just to talk the sidewalk, I think that's a good idea on Defense Highway. As far as a signal, the cost of a signal, it's somewhere around $200,000, $250,000 to install a signal. The main problem with the signal at Terrytown is that we have to get around the State Highway Administration. The State Highway Administration, of course, as a traffic engineer, I know I used to work for State Highway for 13 years. But they look at signal warrants, and you've got to meet at least one of these signal warrants. There are 8 of them in order to be able to install a traffic signal. So that's something we could look at, though, to see if perhaps we can trip one of these 8 warrants and try and justify that for the state, because that's a good suggestion. Thanks. Let's go to the next one here. Michael Dion, right back here in the back.
Yeah, it's not really new or anything, but I think there was some misunderstanding maybe on part of the church members as people's concerns about the activities and all. It's really not that they're worried about some unusual activities going on. It's really the activities and the usage really goes to the issue of the traffic. You know, when I lived down on Pollywood, down at the end of Cox Road, and when I first heard that there was going to be a Nigerian church there, I kind of thought, well, that's a good use for that property. I kind of envisioned a relatively small church given the size of the property. Right. And you know, even if you accept that you can make 300 parking spaces work, you know, this is your 900 seat space here, but that's actually less than half the entire project. You know, you get 11 classrooms and, you know, over a dozen offices and stuff. And so people are kind of wanting to know, it's not so much what are you doing there, but like how much usage and when are you using it? Because that really plays into, you know, what's the peak hour? Well, there's today's situation, but depending on when they're going to be doing their activities, you know, that could change what the peak hour is. So again, the people aren't really trying to question your motives, it's just, it really does play directly into, you know, the whole traffic question. So that, you know, I just wanted to kind of clarify that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We've got about 5 minutes left, so hopefully we can get in two or three more questions here. So let me go to the back there. Yes, you're.
Hi, thank you. My name is Jessica Stroop. I live on Old Willow Way. We meet again. Hello. Thanks for coming. The question that I have is sort of to follow up on the last question that the gentleman asked. I guess it's more of a zoning question because I understand that this is an allowable structure, although question its appropriateness because of the RA zoning, and it's a religious structure. Yet in the plan, as it's been pointed out multiple times, there do contain 11 classrooms, although I have studied it and I know that is split and there's designation between what's a classroom and what's meant for the teen church space. But I also was wondering how a store and a cafe and a commercial kitchen go into a church plan, and what are the hours for the store and what are the hours for the cafe?
First of all, let me correct something here. It's not a Nigerian church, it's the Church of Christ. We are cross-border, we have Nigerians, we have Ghanaians, we have Americans, we have Jamaicans, all across. It's a non-denominational church, and every one of you is welcome. Okay, now to talk of 11 classrooms, we are starting with 0 to 23 months. So they have their classroom. Then we move on to the next 2 to 3 years. They have their classroom. So we break down so that there will be enough space for every child that comes in there. It goes all the way to 13. That is the teens church. So that is why we're having all these multiple rooms. Then we have rooms for pastors. We have rooms for deacons. We have rooms where we count our money when it comes in. So we have all these rooms. We have the choir room. We have the music room. So we have all these designated. Now, we don't have a store. We just have a cafe. When people come in, they can sit down and relax and talk to themselves and relate to each other. That's why we have all these rooms. So there's nothing different that we're doing as a church than just having everybody to have a relaxed condition here. If you see a store, yes, maybe that's the storage. That's where we store our stuff. Storage. That's it. Not store to sell anything. And then, are you talking of our bookstore?